Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a few moments to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where your spine and the back of your neck can sit nice and long and tall. Opening up your diaphragm, opening up your chest, opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fourth Niyama, and the Niyama is the second limb of yoga. And the fourth Niyama is Svadhyaya. Sva means oneself, and adhyaya means lesson. So it's about self-study and self-awareness, stepping into the role of an observer without judgment. I'd like to share with you an article or a snippet of an article I read this week by Christine Malosi from the Yoga U. In the article, she said, Asana practice offers the perfect opportunity to explore Svadhyaya. To create an asana, you must move and place the various parts of your body. You could do this without any real engagement or awareness, going through the motions while your mind is a million miles away, or you could work towards staying present with each and every moment as it arises. You can notice how the body responds to being aligned in a certain way. Observe physical sensations. Watch how your mind reacts to what you're doing with your body. Experience any emotions that may show up. And listen to the ebb and flow of your breath. So in a nutshell, what she's saying is Svadhyaya is the difference between playing Simon Says and truly practicing yoga. So for our pranayama this morning, I'd like to revisit the Dirga breathing technique. It's also called the complete breath or three-part breath because it has you go take your breath from your stomach and have it rise up through your ribs and up to your chest, rather than having just your normal breath, which usually just kind of resides up in your upper torso area in your chest. So to help us with getting that breath down through our ribs and into our stomach, there's a mudra that if you don't do anything, you can kind of feel, and this is part of your self-awareness, kind of feel that where your breathing is, and probably is up in your chest. And if you take your thumb and your index finger and put them together, close your eyes and focus on your breath. You may feel that it is dropped down now to your ribs and to your chest with each inhale and exhale. And then lastly, add your middle finger to those other two. So you have your thumb, your index finger, and your middle finger together. The other two fingers extended out. Close your eyes and focus on your inhales and exhales. And see if that helps to drop that breath all the way down into your stomach. We'll just continue here, focusing on that breath, having it emanate from your stomach up through your ribs, flowing up to your chest, and then flowing away from your chest on the exhale, away from your ribs and away from your stomach. So for our meditation, we're going to continue with that pranayama and keeping that mudra in place. And we're going to layer on top of that a mantra. So in the meditation, while you're in that space of awareness, as Eckhart Tolle says, tune into oneself and use the mantra so hum. So means that, hum means I am. So hum that I am. And you can inhale on the so and exhale on the hum. So hum that I am. Continue at your own pace, deep breaths, deep inhales, deep exhales. So hum. And I'll meet you on the mat. may open your eyes now. We'll start this morning with just a few exercises working from our head on down. So let's just start with a few head nods. Gently send your gaze down to the mat, or even if you like, you can send it down to your navel, one of the drishti parts, and then send it up. So it's about 45-degree angle, looking at the tops of trees, seeing the trees starting to turn a little bit of color in the fall. And then send your gaze back down on the exhale. Slowly send it back up. One last time, sending it down. And then inhale back up. Come to neutral spot, and then we're going to turn our gaze to the left. Gently turning our neck, keeping our torso facing forward. And then exhale, return, or inhale, return back to center. Exhale, turn to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the left. Or inhale. Come back to center. And then one last time to the right. And back to center. We'll do a few shoulder shrugs. So gently roll your shoulders up toward your ears, keeping them very relaxed. And then exhaling, lowering them down toward the mat, sending your shoulder blades toward one another in the back. And then rounding, sending your shoulders up toward your ears. Sending your shoulders down toward the mat. Inhale up toward the ears. Exhale down toward the mat. And making circles, maybe moving your hands along your thighs and knees to help create that circle. So another note about having yoga be just kind of a Simon Says versus truly practicing yoga. If you think of your fingerprints as being totally unique to yourself, each thumbprint is your own individual signature. Your whole body is unique in itself. So if you watch the yoga instructor and try to do a Simon Says, it's not truly practicing yoga. What you would do more is listen to what your body wants to do. The yoga teacher would be the kind of set the stage for a pose we should do and give you cues on aligning it properly. But this is where yoga truly can transcend your body into something that works for you. By inviting that pose into your body instead of inviting your body into that pose. So let's bring our fingertips to the side and then do some sun breaths. So inhale, bringing our arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come back down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Exhale down. On the next inhale up, we're going to twist over to the left and then bring our hands down. Right hand goes on left knee, left hand behind your hips. And then inhale, sweeping your hands up. I'm going to turn toward the front and then over to the right, bringing your hands down. Left hand on right knee, right hand behind the hips. And we'll continue this flow, inhaling up, sweeping over to the left side, exhaling, bringing your hands down. Inhale, sweep your hands up. Exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, sweep your hands up. Turning to the left, bring your hands down. And one last time, sweep our hands up. And twist to the right and bring our hands down. And then come back to center. We're going to roll down on our backs. You could do that either one vertebrae at a time, which is what I'm going to choose this morning, or you can tuck your hands under your knees and do that express method by just rolling back. And then bring your knees to your chest. Give them a nice gentle hug. Interlace your fingers and wrap them around your left knee and extend your right leg out. And you can either have it hover above the mat or lower it down to the mat, whichever is more comfortable for you. And we're going to circle our feet, our toes. So draw nice big circles with our toes, both of them, so they're kind of twirling around at the end of our legs. And then reverse the direction. And then bring the right knee back to your chest and give both knees a nice hug to your chest. And then take your interlaced fingers, hands, and wrap them around your right knee, extending your left leg out. And you can either have it hover or lower it down to the mat. And we're going to do some more circles. Go in one direction. And then reverse the direction. And then bring your knee back to your chest, give it a nice hug. I'm going to take each hand and place them on each knee. So right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee. We do what I call the rowboats. So extend both arms out as far as they can go, sending your knees toward the bottom of the mat. And then opening your knees to both sides of the mat. The soles of your feet come together. And then guide your knees up toward your shoulders. And then close your knees over your chest and give them a nice hug. We'll do that a couple more times. So extend your knees out toward the bottom of the mat until your arms are fully extended. Taking the soles of your feet, bring them together while your knees come out to the sides of the mat. Guide both knees back toward your shoulders. And then close them over your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. And one more time, extend your knees down toward the bottom of the mat until your arms are fully extended. And just feel every movement as you do it. Opening up your knees, bringing the soles of your feet together. Guide your knees back toward your shoulders. Lower back is reaching down toward the mat. And close your knees over your chest and give them a nice hug. We'll place both feet on the mat, hip width apart. You take our right ankle and place it on our left thigh, just below the kneecap, left kneecap. So you're in a reclined pigeon pose. Your right knee's pointing toward the right side of your mat. Lower back is snug into the mat. And you can stay here for your reclined pigeon. Or if you like, you can lift your left leg up and guide it toward you, wrapping your hands behind your left thigh. You guide it as close to your chest as what is comfortable for you, keeping your right knee facing toward the right side of the mat. Flex both toes up toward the sky. And take some deep breaths. Send those nourishing breaths throughout your body, lower back, legs. And then lower your left leg back down to the mat. We'll lower the right leg foot down to the mat. We'll switch sides. So your right foot's on the mat now. Left ankle rests on your right leg just below the kneecap. Left knee's pointing toward the left side of the mat. And you can stay here, or if you like a little bit more stretch, wrap your hands around your back of your right thigh and guide your thigh toward your chest, finding that sweet spot between effort and relaxation. Pointing both toes up to the sky. And just breathe into nourishing your body. Maybe try to relieve any tension you may feel. And just check to make sure that it's tension and not pain. If it's pain, release your pose a little bit to the point where you get to that sweet spot. And bring both feet back down to the mat. We're going to come up onto our hands and knees, so you can either roll up using your hands behind your knees and creating a rock and roll with your back, or you can tip over and come up to your hands and knees, whichever works for you. So coming up to tabletop, our wrists are right below our shoulders. We're pressing gently down into the mat so there's space between our shoulder and our ears. We're focusing on creating an equal distribution, excuse me, an equal distribution of weight in our hands. Our knees are right below our hips, navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice flat back. We're going to do some cat-cows. So we're going to round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down, exhaling deeply. Nice stretching of the spine. And then lift our head and tailbone up for cow. Exhale, rounding the back for cat. Dropping the head and tailbone down. Really stretching out that spine. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. And continue at your own pace, using deep inhales and deep exhales, synchronizing your breath to your movement. As Christine mentioned, listening to the ebb and flow of your breath. And then come back to a neutral spine, back to tabletop. Bring the two knees together so that they're touching and they sit underneath your, equally underneath your hips. Then we're gonna go into bird dog. So we're gonna extend our right leg back to hip height. And then with just focus for a moment on the equal distribution of your hand weight in your hands. And then lift your left hand up so that your arm is along your ear, shoulder height. And I'm going to inhale, pointing the toe. Exhale, flexing the toe down toward the mat. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. 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 Inhale, point. And exhale, flex, and bring both hand and knee back down. We'll do that on the other side. So again, focus on the equal distribution of weight in your hands. Then send your left leg up to hip height. Raise your right arm up to shoulder height. Pointing your toe for inhale. Flexing for exhale. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. 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 Inhale, point. And one last exhale, flex. Bring the hand and knee back down. We'll walk our hands back as we curl our toes under, coming up into a squat. And then from the squat, we're going to push our toes down into the mat and come up to mountain pose. We'll go through the mountain essentials of good posture, I like to call them. So our toes facing the long, straight edge of the mat, or the straight edge of the mat. We'll lift our toes up off the mat and spread them out as wide as you can. And then bring the toes back down into the mat, lifting your heels up off the mat. And then bring the heels back down. And really feel grounded in your mat, in the earth, in your life. Legs are nice and straight and strong. Gentle bend in your knees, coming up to your hips. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine is nice and long. The back of your neck's nice and long. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin's just tucked ever so slightly in. And the crown of your head is flat, reaching up to the sky. So inhale, sweep our hands all the way up overhead. And then exhale, we're going to bring our hands down to the mat as we bend our knees deeply, supporting our lower back. Bring our hands down to the mat. And just take a moment to check in. Feel how our body is this morning. Might be different from yesterday, and it will be different from tomorrow. Think of your fingerprint as being unique. Your body's unique, and every day it's unique. So inhale, bring your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze down to the floor. And let's slide our hands all the way from the shins up to the thighs. Keep your elbows tucked toward your ribs, almost like a chicken pose, but just feel that how that stretches your spine just a little bit further. And then slowly slide your hands back down and bring the crown of your head down toward the mat. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead. We're reaching up to the sky. Come up onto your tippy toes and we'll do a palm tree. Just kind of sway here for a moment. Establish a sense of balance, creating balance in your day. And then bring your heels back down. Bring your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees all the way. Inhale, bring your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back. Gaze goes down for half forward fold. And then exhale, forward fold, sending the crown of your head down toward the ground. And inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead, bringing the palms together. And then we'll do some supported side stretches. So bring your right hand down to your right thigh and slide it down toward your right knee, creating a nice crescent shape with your upper torso. Inhale, bring that right hand back up. Palms touch. Bring the left hand back, or bring the left hand down to your left thigh. Slide it down toward your left knee. Nice crescent shape on the other side. Inhale, bring it back up. And right hand comes down to the right thigh, sliding it down toward the right knee. Inhale, come back up. And one last time, left hand comes down to the left thigh, slide it down to your left knee. Inhale, come back up. And then exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees deeply, supporting your lower back. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, half forward fold. And then exhale, crown of the head goes down toward the mat. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up again. Come up overhead, palms come together, and palms come to heart center. We're gonna do another balance pose. So anchoring your left foot into the mat, we're gonna just raise our right leg up as if we were sitting in a chair. And try to do so without like tipping your body and forcing it. Just try to come straight up with that leg. And find your balance here. And then raise your hands up toward the sky. And again, try to do so without tipping or turning your body in any way. And then come back down. We'll do that on the other side. So inhale, arms come up overhead, palms come together, palms come to heart center. You're anchoring your right foot into the mat. You keep that soft bend in your knee and rise or raise your left leg up. Find that balance. You may need to find a drishti to focus on, just to kind of center your position. Focus on that. And then raise your hands up overhead. Continue your breathing. And bring your hands and your foot back down. And one last time, we'll bring our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees. Inhale, half forward fold, bringing your hands to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze down. Exhale, sending the crown of your head down toward the mat. And then inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Palms come together. And palms come to heart center. And then palms come to the back of your hips. Fingertips are pointing down. Feet are spread about hip width apart. We'll do a supported back bend. And just gently relax your shoulders back, tucking your chin toward your chest. We're going to just send our shoulders back to get to that sweet spot that's unique to you. Listening to your breath. And inhale, come back up. We're going to sweep our hands up and overhead. And exhale, bringing them both down to the mat, bending our knees. We're going to send our right foot back to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. So runner's lunge, knees over your ankle, your back foot, the heel is pushing toward the back of the mat. And then we're going to bring our right knee down to the mat. Top of the right foot comes down to the mat for low lunge. I'm going to sweep our hands up and overhead. So gently bring your hands up overhead. This is a pose that I really have to focus on my body and how it responds to this pose. And then bring your hands back down. Tuck your back toes under, come back up to runner's lunge. And then we're going to pivot our back foot down so it's at a 45-degree angle. And then pushing down in our front leg, we're going to come up, bringing our arms up overhead, come up into warrior one. And warrior one might look different for each of us. I tend to like to have it so my chest is reaching toward the corner of the upper right corner of the mat. People also like to have it so that your chest is turning straight over your front leg. And if you do that, you may want to move your back foot out just a tad, moving it so that you have separate tracks, if you will, so that you're not too twisted. But this is a great flexibility move. And then we're going to bring our hands down, interlace them behind our back, relax our shoulders and roll them back. We're going to send our chest up over our left knee, our front knee, sending our arms back. This is a modified humble warrior. And then release our hands and bring them down to the mat. We send our left foot back to our right foot, coming into plank pose. Plank pose, our wrists are right below our shoulders. Both heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips slightly. No sagging tummies. If you sag your tummy, you can feel how different the energy is in your body and how the weight doesn't sit on your arms well. So kind of make these discoveries, maybe moving around, feeling what works for you. Then we're going to do knees, chest, chin. So bring your knees to the mat. And then with your elbows tucked toward your ribs, bring your chest down like you're doing a push-up. And then your chin comes down. Hands come right below your shoulders. Elbows tucked toward your ribs. Gently lift your chest and chin up. And gently push into your hands, coming up into cobra. And then keep pushing up, coming up into tabletop, and then dropping your hips toward your ankles, come into child's pose. Nice stretch with your arms out front. Your hips coming down toward the ankles. Then inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lifting your hips up into downward dog. And just pedal out here for a moment. And feel how this pose is in your body. Your arms straight. Chest reaching toward your thighs, hips elevated up toward the sky. Keeping your knees bent or paddling. I'm going to lift our right leg up into three-legged dog. So inhale, lift the right leg up. And then we're going to bring that right leg up between our hands and come into runner's lunge. So you may want to guide it there so that your foot is framed by your hands. You're in runner's lunge. Your left leg is extended to the back of the mat. Heels pushing to the back of the mat. And then lower your left knee down to the mat. The top of your left foot goes down to the mat. And slowly raise your hands up to the sky for low lunge. Bring your hands back down. Tuck your toes, back toes under, coming back into runner's lunge. And I'm going to pivot the back foot down so that the sole of your foot is on the mat at a 45-degree angle. And again, pushing down to the front leg, we're going to lift up to warrior one. And that could be with your chest facing the corner or twisting your torso, maybe bringing that left foot out to another track so you're not twisting too hard. And then bring your arms down, interlacing your fingers behind your back. Relax your shoulders. And we'll pivot our torso so it's over our right leg. Sending our arms back. Modified humble warrior. And then bring our hands back down to the mat. Send our right foot to the back of the mat to meet our left foot coming into plank pose. Wrists under shoulders, heels pushing back, navel tucked. And then we're going to knees, chest, chin. So bring your knees to the mat. And then keeping your elbows tucked to your side, we can bring our chest down to the mat and chin. Take your fingers, bring them right below your shoulders, lifting your chin and chest up, and then gently pushing in for cobra, keeping your elbows tucked to the side. And then push up into tabletop, lowering your hips down to the ankles for child's pose. And come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, come up into downward dog. Pedal out here for a few moments. Feel the strength that's building in your arms, the strength that's building in your legs, strength that's building around your core. Then we're going to lift our left leg up to three-legged dog. So lift your left leg all the way up. And then bring your left leg between your hands, or your left foot rather, between your hands, coming into runner's lunge. You may want to guide it there. So when you're in runner's lunge with your knee over your ankle, pivot your back foot down again. And this time we're going to push down our front foot, sweeping our hands, come into warrior two. Warrior two, your knees over your ankle, chest is open to the long side of the mat. Gently turn your head so you're gazing at your left fingertips. And then lower your right hand down as you raise your left hand up to the sky for reverse warrior. And then bring your left arm down, resting it on top of your left thigh, sweeping your right hand overhead. So you have this nice long line of energy from your toes to your fingertips. Extended side angle. And then bring your right hand down to the mat. Come back into runner's lunge. Send your left foot back to meet your right foot, coming into plank. And this time we're going to do Chaturanga. So keeping your elbows tucked to your side, just gently lower yourself to the mat. We're going to bring our hands alongside, so alongside our body with our palms facing up. We'll do half locust and then full locust. So lift your right leg up and bring it back down. Lift your left leg up and bring it back down. And then lift both legs and both arms up. Like you're flying through the air. And bring them back down. Bring your hands up to the mat right below your shoulders. We'll do cobra, so lifting our chest and chin up and then gently pushing down into our hands, come into cobra. And then continue pushing to tabletop and then child's pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips up to the sky, coming into downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a moment. And then lift your right leg up to the sky. Send your right foot up so it lands between your hands, hopefully with a little assistance. And then you're going to pivot your left foot down to the mat. Pushing down on your right foot, you're going to come up into warrior two. On the other side. Chest is open to the straight edge of the mat. Arms are at shoulder height. And slowly, gently turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Send your right arm up as you send your left hand down to your left thigh for reverse warrior. And then bring your right hand, arm down to your right thigh, landing it on your thigh. And sweeping your left hand up and over, creating that nice line of energy from your toes to your fingertips for extended side angle. And bring your left hand back down to the mat. Coming back into runner's lunge. We're going to send our right foot back to meet our left, coming into plank pose. And then gently lowering ourselves down to the mat. Chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to our sides. Bring our arms alongside of our torso, palms facing up. We do half locust and then full locust again. So raise your right leg up and lower it. Raise your left leg up and lower it. We're going to raise both legs and both arms up and lower it. Bring your fingers right below your shoulders, lifting your chin and chest up, and then gently pushing down, come into cobra. Elbows are tucked to the side. And then push to tabletop, and then to child's pose. We'll come back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under, lifting our hips up into downward dog. And pedal out here for a few moments. And then we're going to slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into a forward fold. And then slowly sweep our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And we've done warrior 1, warrior 2, and we'll do warrior 3. So you can do it in one of several ways, whichever works best for you. I'm going to first start with my left foot anchored into the mat. Both my knees are gently bent, have that nice spring in them. I'm going to send my right foot back ever so slightly, maybe about a foot back, so it's resting on our toes. And then I'm going to pivot from the waist, keeping my eyes focused on a drishti on the floor. Send my arms out in a bird form like we did with locust. And raise my right leg up. So we could do that version. Or if you like, you can come back to mountain pose. Again, gently bend your knees, sending your right foot back. This time we'll lift our arms up overhead. And we're going to pivot from the waist the same way, but our arms are going to stay overhead. Bending from the waist, keeping that knee bent, and lifting the right leg up. That's a little tougher for me. And then we'll do that on the other side. So you can, again, feet hip width apart, knees are gently bent. Keep that bend in your knee. And try to keep your torso even, not shifting or tilting your weight over. Have everything kind of facing forward. Good. Bend the right knee, lifting the left leg up. Sending the arms back. And then if you can, maybe in one movement, sweep your hands to the front. Bravo, everyone. So we'll come back to mountain pose, bringing our pinky toes to the edges of the mat, preparing for a wide-legged stance or wide-legged squat. So we're in wide-legged stance. Bring our hands together, heart center, lowering our hips down toward the mat, bringing our torso between our knees, elbows then sit inside our knees for the wide-legged squat. And you can send your hands down a little bit toward the mat. And then bring your seat down to the mat. We'll come into staff pose. We're going to bring our right foot alongside our left knee and then hop that right foot over to the other side of the left knee. And then wrap our left arm around our right knee, bringing our right hand to the back of our hips for sage pose. And if you want, you can leverage it a little bit more by placing your elbow on the outer edge of your right knee and sending your gaze over your right shoulder. And then come back to center. We'll do that on the other side. So right leg is extended, left foot comes to the inside of the knee and then hops over the right knee. And wrap our right arm around our left leg, bringing our fingertips to the back of our hips, sending our gaze out ahead, straight ahead of us. Or perhaps a little bit more leverage. You bring your right elbow to the outer part of your left knee and twist, sending your gaze over your left shoulder. And then come back to center. You can roll down either knees, chest, or express or one vertebrae at a time. I'm going down express method. Tuck your knees to your chest and maybe rock a little bit back and forth. Give your lower back a nice massage. And then with your toes, create nice big circles. Giving that back a nice deeper massage. And perhaps rotate them in the opposite direction. And then bring them back to center, give them a nice hug, and then extend them to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. And Shavasana is a nice, gentle pose, relaxation pose. Bring your heels to the edges of the mat, to the corners of the mat, and just let your feet flop open. And then just do a body scan. Self-awareness here of how to relax your body, going from the toes on up to your nose. Maybe you do it with breaths. Inhale, and then each exhale, you relax deeper into the mat. Maybe you just focus on the muscles and tell them to relax as you work your way up the body. See what works for you to have your body respond to relaxation. And when you feel that you're nice and relaxed, place a gentle smile on your lips. Today's poem I have for you is by Rumi, and it's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.